G'day. Catching up from the couch again because I thought it was so important from a financial point of view. Brian Greer, CEO of Loan Market New Zealand. How are you, sir?
Good, thanks, Grant. Yes,
Good.
Bubbles.
I'd like to check in first because, you know, it's a good thing. We are checking on each other now. So it's an important first thing, not just a greeting. Look, this is a developing thing nearly hour by hour, but we had an update that we could possibly move to level 3 and what could this possibly mean and how we can act under that. But I wanted to talk to you from a finance point of view of people that have been actively looking and putting offers forward on properties. Understandably, they're buttoned off for now, but what sort of situation are they in? Are they still able to put their offers forward from a financial point of view? What do they need to be aware of right now?
Sure. Well, the first thing I would say is that we are totally digitally enabled to be able to do new applications. So we have an online submission platform, so we can send a link out to a client. They can complete from the comfort of their home. We can keep more than our 2 meters distance. So no issue in terms of doing new applications. In terms of bank appetite, that is, you're correct, changing almost daily. They're probably at ground zero right now in that their whole focus has been looking after their existing client base, making sure that they're safe and that they've coordinated what they need to do around their mortgages. And now they're looking at, okay, well, if people want to borrow today, what's important to the banks? I'll point out we deal with all of the banks in New Zealand, so there's literally not one that we don't have access to. So having access to all of them is going to be really important going forward because different banks will have different liquidity, and that's available funds to lend. And their appetite will change from bank to bank from time to time. So having access to the full market is really important. The important thing for a bank today is what's your stability of income like? So employment type is going to be really important. So we've done some applications just in the last week for some policemen, for some nurses, relatively easy. We know as we move down through the gears to level 3, the trades become available. That's a huge part of the workforce in New Zealand, and that'll give banks confidence in their stability of being able to borrow money. Conversely, if I'm a cafe owner or a self-employed taxi driver, those sort of things today probably going to be really challenging. And it'll be as we come out of this that banks will become more confident in those areas.
Well, you've made a solid point. For those that don't know the work of a mortgage broker, that Loan Market have access to all of the financial options. That's like telling the same story or making the same application for finance 20, 25 times. So by going to Loan Market, you get all of that story out there very, very quickly, and the best options can come back to you as fast as you can, because speed is going to be, and it always has been, an issue. So I just wanted to reinforce that that's an option for people. So existing pre-approvals, typically they're 90 days. Is that something people need to check now? It's there, but can they do that now without making an offer on a house? Exactly.
Yes, 100%, and they should. Because particularly if their circumstances have changed, you don't, pre-approvals are literally that. They are pre-approved for you to borrow at the time of when you submitted your application. And if your circumstances have changed or haven't changed, when you find that right property and you want to go make an offer, before this environment, all we would need to do is get the address of the property, get that ticked off, and you could go in with a cash offer, an offer with no finance clause. Now, we know when we produce a property address to the bank says, great, can you please confirm, and we want signed off by the client, that the circumstances haven't changed. And in some instances, they have. Now, that doesn't mean that the approval won't be valid. It very well may be valid, but it also may not. And if it's not, that might just be for a period of time. You'd want to know that.
Cool. And this is something they can check now. Like I say, they haven't found the house of their dreams. They can contact you and just double check it, because like you say, to me, that sounds like a third layer. You're personally approved for finance, awesome. Now they want to approve 17 Smith Street specifically, because that's the house you want to make an offer on. And now they're just looking over the shoulder for a second to say, everything's still the same, cool, we're good to go.
Yep, 100%. And look, the other thing is, even if you haven't obtained your pre-approval from us, we're happy to talk to you. And that can just be to make sure you understand any conditions that are on the pre-approval, because there's two sorts of pre-approvals. in my mind, there's a pre-approval that may not have had full care applied to it or diligence applied to all the conditions. And there's what I call real estate pre-approved. That means everything's ticked off, everything other than the property. And we just get the address, we get that ticked off, then you're going in with no finance clause. And I've seen many pre-approvals from directly from banks in some instances where there's 2 or 3 conditions, and until they're ticked off, well, you can't go in without a finance clause.
Right, and people's looking at the top of the letter say, I've got pre-approval, whereas the bottom says, if you get evaluation, if you get. So that's fantastic. You said that you don't need to be an existing Loan Market customer. You'll take a call or inquiry from anyone just to say, hey, just wanted you to check on this. It's a free service you offer. That's the other piece of gold. Your time and your skills apply to this, but it doesn't cost me as a customer of yours to use those services. And we've got time. You know, that's the thing that we have now, so it's best to use it. One other trick that was an issue a couple of months ago, Kiwisaver for some has taken a bit of a knock. You thought you had, you know, your 25, 30,000 deposit, which is fantastic, but that level's changed too. So how often do people check their Kiwisaver amounts as well?
Yeah, look, and it's a really valid point. I mean, it also depended on the sort of fund that you were in. So, you know, there's cash funds or conservative funds where they took a far lower hit. If you're in a growth fund, which is predominantly invested into shares, then that took a bigger hit, but has bounced as well. But it is you make a really valid point. What people should do is just contact their Kiwisaver provider and ask them for an up-to-date and current balance as at today, just so they know that if they were thinking there's 40 grand there still is 40, or it may be 38 now. Well, if it is, you want to know that.
Yeah, exactly, because it's going to be relevant if you're out in the market. There will be houses to buy. Coming out of this, I won't make many predictions, but I know that people will still need to buy and sell property at all levels. So that's going to remain, and that can be done now. Like you say, the Kiwisaver check, that can be done because those guys are working. You certainly are, and we appreciate, you know, your time in advising us as well, that you're open for that email, that phone call at Loan Market to double check, so they're ready to go. There will be a bit of a rush on things, I think, when everything is semi back to normal. There's everything to do, so this can be done now, and you are ready to go before that viewing, before that place comes up. Cool. Yep. All right, look, again, thank you for your time. I do appreciate it, and we'll be in touch soon, because I think there'll be something else that we'll need to understand more fully. And you're the finance guy. You're the guy that we talk to.
Always a pleasure, mate.
Good man. All right, take care of yourself.
Take care. See you.